questions to ask throughout a campaign with the confidence rising. I told WDF don't switch, good times are coming on for deep diving. Fan cams, reactions, watch along, still the pride of London thriving. The Eagles of South, they flying. Keep your eyes on us, we ain't hiding.
Yes, guys, welcome back to TACT-EAGLE, and this is one for the Brighton game, one that we're all looking forward to, and probably one that most Palace fans are not feeling confident at all, in any way, shape, or form. But obviously, as always, I'm joined here with my co-host Dan. Dan, how you doing?
Yeah, all good. I've been building up this week to the game. I have to be honest, before looking into Brighton's tactics, I wasn't very confident. But looking into a bit more, I'm not saying that they're bad. Obviously, they're a good team. But I think there's some things we could hopefully do to exploit them a little bit. How you doing?
Definitely. Had a productive day at work, we'll say, which is another way of saying lots of people bothered me. But yeah, all good. I was looking into tactics as well last couple of days, and we're going to concede a lot of chances. I say that they're going to make a lot of chances, but as Dan said, they may concede a lot of chances as well. We'll get into it. They've got a few injuries. I think Lallana's out. Which is probably the main one for their midfield because he's a very vocal point in that midfield, and I'm not really sure who would play there instead of him.
I think so. In the past, normally when he's come off injured or he's just not played, normally they'll whack McAllister in there. So McAllister will play behind, and then Gross will come into the midfield, and then Veltman at right back. From what I've seen.
But yeah, when looking into this game, you can see some matchups which aren't very favourable, can't you? You can see Solly March. I don't know what's happened to him, but he seemed to have grown a new leaf of pace. Seemed to be much better than he normally is. He seems to be a very, very good player now. Very decisive when going forwards, starting to score some goals, which is something you never really see from him. And Mitoma versus Klein is going to be a long weekend. It's going to be a long day.
Yeah, I have to be honest. That one scares me. I'm not going to lie. That one scares me.
And I think someone that's very underrated in Brighton's team right now, who probably doesn't get the spotlight that he probably deserves because of how good he is Welbeck. He stayed injury-free for quite a while now from someone that's known to be an injury-prone player. And he's scoring goals, he's setting up goals, and he's linking up play very well. So he's definitely going to be one that Gay and Richards are going to have to lock down. Yeah,
no, for sure. I think looking at their side, they've got even like the not, I guess, well-known good players. They're still filled with some good players in between.
Definitely. But then with how we play, I'm not going to say that we could soak up the pressure, but we've got the players to help out. Like that stat that came out with Chet Decore today, he's the top interceptions in the Premier League so far. He's got 36. I think he's ahead of Declan Rice by 1.
Yeah.
So without him in our midfield, we would be finished.
Yeah, I don't want to think what would have happened if Chet Decore had been injured at any point. I mean, he didn't play against Everton, I think it was, and we lost 3-0. So I think that says it all, really.
Oh, it says more than enough. Really. Let's go through some comments. Big up Brush for the popcorn. Big up Rich. Big up Louis. We're seeing that he's posting some TikToks now as well. Big up Sean. Ain't seen you in a while, mate. Big up Chairman. Big up Solo. Mitoma gonna kill Klein.
I'd rather not think about it right now, but
it's a long day. It's a long day,
mate.
No, I don't think he's back. I think even if he is,
so.
I think even if he is back, they wouldn't throw him into a game like this as your first game back. There's no way.
No, especially when we've got Richards, who's been very good
Yeah.
in his play. So I don't think so.
However, I think he brings up an interesting point because I think what we're both hinting at in how we can break down Brighton, Anderson could have been key to that.
No, absolutely. His long passes. I mean, I think I say it every single time in every single game, but his long passes are so useful. Like whether it's taking the pressure off the defense, or whether it's just finding a player to do a bit of playmaking. Like it's just always so useful.
Because it's sort of a way of attacking from the back, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
no,
all the way from our centre back line, you can start getting in behind maybe from their centre backs if they're pushed up. You can ping a ball out wide, and then you can set Zahara off on the wing or whatever. So it's a good outlet and it's a good attacking output as well. Because sometimes, when we have a corner and then somehow Anderson ends up on the wing, for some reason he puts the best cross in the box that I've ever seen. But he's our centre back, so it's unfortunate he can't do that very much more.
No, definitely. And I think the thing is, like teams these days, I think it's not like years gone by where like the centre back was literally like go through the man, win the ball, pass it to someone short. Nowadays, like they're expected to start the attacks. So players like Joachim Andersen are prime modern day centre backs.
Definitely,
because they can do that.
Yeah, it's been many a time when we've tried to play that way without before the rebuild. I remember, I can't remember what team it was against, but I remember Luka came short. Gaeta passed it to him, but then he got tackled instantly, and Dan just watched the guy run past him, and they scored. And I'm thinking, what are we doing? But now we've got someone like Anderson who'll probably take the goal kick himself and put it right on the head of one of our wingers who's got a free run. So definitely we've got the right players to evolve this team in the current generation of football.
Definitely. I think one thing I do think, I think Gay, whilst not as good as Anderson in that sense, I think Gay is capable of sometimes picking a good pass. What I like about Gay and Richards, I noticed, does it as well. They're very good at driving forwards with the ball at their feet, which, whilst obviously doesn't travel as far as Anderson's kicking, I think that is something that, they both got in their locker that could be very useful.
Yeah, there's been a few times where Gay's actually dribbled his way out of trouble.
Yeah.
Which is something that's very uncommon in a centre-back.
No, exactly. And I think the beginning of the season we didn't see it that much from him because I think he was lacking some kind of confidence. But in the past couple of months, like he's been unreal and he's been doing that pretty much every game.
Yeah, because I think that last season it was Gay over Anderson, definitely. But then this season it's sort of been Anderson over Gay. But then the second Anderson's got injured, Gay's stepped up a lot.
Yeah, no, definitely, absolutely.
Louis says, imagine Wilf coming off the bench and scoring the winner.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time. Well, maybe not coming off the bench, but scoring the winner.
I'll tell you what, if that freak of a human being is somehow fit to even be on the bench after doing his hamstring in 2 weeks,
that's just crazy, especially at his age as well. Like I don't know, I can't remember exactly. Well, he's got to be 30 like very soon, isn't he?
He's a superhuman, man. He's got to be. There's no way you're recovering that quick. Because he had a knee? Remember when I can't remember what season it was, but I think Huddersfield came up in the first game of the season. They kicked him up, and then they said, "Oh, he's going to be out for 2 months," and he was out for a month. And you're thinking, how the hell have you done that? And he was fit for the rest of the season, no issues.
That's he's an odd one, isn't he? I mean, obviously, if he plays,
he's been blessed. He's been blessed because he doesn't get injured that much as well, which is the best thing. Is that when he does get injured, he comes back in half the time, but he hardly gets injured in the first place.
That is true. That is true.
But let's get into this Brighton game and let's talk about stats. Dan, Do you want to go first with your stats or your tactics?
Right. So I've
Do you want to
got
share your screen?
present. Share screen. Right. I did actually find a stat which I will share in a minute. Oh no, wait, that's not Martinez. Sorry.
Sanchez.
My bad. I've left this one blank just because they seem to swap. Like, there's no consistent centre back here. But anyways,
It'll probably be Colwell.
Yeah, I've seen. Yeah, Cole will probably. But anyways, so where's Oh, I didn't put a football either. Sorry, I'm flopping today. What is wrong with me? Right, there we go. So
Rich said that you look like you just finished a shift at the red light district.
Well, it's been a long day. Anyway, so generally, and we briefly talked about this behind. So generally, what happens is that when they have the ball, so they have it in this position. I'll ignore our players for now. What happens is, so what Sky will tell you is that they'll play a 4-2-3-1 or something like that. Although in their last game they did play with 3 at the back, but I didn't actually watch that game. But anyway, so normally what happens, Gross normally pushes up into the midfield, kind of like, and then they kind of end up like this. What I did notice, STATMAN, whose name I've just spelled wrong, he sometimes pushes up, occasionally. Other times he'll be back. So it's kind of like a jaggedy, like 3-3-3-1.
Yeah.
And then what I noticed that they absolutely love it. And actually, because you said Lallana's injured, I'm going to get rid of him. He can go there. Gross can go here, and then this will be Veltman. So what they absolutely love, and this is a term I said on the last stream, they love a vertical pass.
Oh gosh, we're back to this again.
They love it. They love it. So what they'll try to do is that they'll try their players. They don't tend to. They're not like they don't have like Welbeck, for example, isn't an out and out striker in my opinion. He's more like a forward.
Yeah.
So what they'll do is that they'll work the ball somehow, so then it ends up to Gross, because they are. Let's be honest, they are very good at passing. Dunk is good on the ball, sadly. I mean, he's not good at not scoring own goals, but he is good at passing.
He must be friends with Troy Deeney then.
Yeah, but what they'll have is that they'll have these kind of players in this space in between the defense and the attack. So like on a normal striker, like a Weghorst, he'll be like here, being like, oh, Richards trying to occupy Richards and Gay. Welbeck doesn't do that. Instead, he'll drop. So for example, he'll pass the ball here vertically. Caicedo will make a run, and what he'll do, rather than like holding on to this ball, he'll just look to lay it off to someone quickly, whether that's to McAllister, whether that's to Caicedo. He'll look to do it. Sometimes they do it in more than one pass. Like I've seen times where they've passed the ball like this, so like Dunk will ping it to Gross, and then naturally this is obviously a different team, but they'll get naturally attracted to them. But then Gross will then just ping it to the side here, so that Caicedo's got the ball here in space. And then he's got several options. Like could go to Welbeck, could go to Mitoma, could go to STATMAN, and so on. Now, in terms of their defense, again, we said this before we came on, but they're because they commit so many players forward, they are very vulnerable to a counter-attack. And both games I watched, which were the games that, apart from, they were the games that they conceded the most XG and created like next to no XG, which I thought was impressive, it was against Leicester and Aston Villa. And both Leicester and Aston Villa made their chances through counter-attacks. I know people will want to obviously press, but I don't know if that's the way forward with this team, unless it's in very specific circumstances, because they are so good at passing it around and so on. And then because they do this, they then create numerical advantages like over here. Like Estupinian will come over here. Veltman will push up as well. They'll create these numerical advantages in the wide areas to try and overload us. But like I said, if we get the ball here, for example, Elise's got all of this. If I can find... No. Wait,
Oh, there's an arrow there.
Wait, hang on. I've forgotten how to do it. Oh, yeah. Nice. So they've got this, like, entire space to run into. I've just actually cocked that up. Over here. They got all of that space because Veltman and Estupinian are so far forward. But as a brief, like, overview of what they do and where their vulnerabilities are in that regard, that's what I thought anyway.
Yeah, definitely. Because I have seen a few times where they've sort of had that formation that you was just showing us, where it'll sort of be like a 2-2-6, basically, but just with a big arc of players which are overloading us a lot in our defence. But as you said, it really does take one good ball out, and it's 2-on-1. And I mean, with some of the players that we've got, like let's say we've got Eze, let's say we don't have Zaha, but let's say we have Zaha or Elise, you probably back them to get out of a 2-on-1 situation because of how good they are on the ball.
No, exactly. And even if Zaha isn't playing, we do have to play Schlupp on that side. I think he's good at running, and I think he's, and I think he'll, like, as long as you're running into that space, I think that's what you need to do. And then hopefully draw one of their try and split their centre backs, and then have another person running through that gap, and then you're going to create opportunities.
Yeah, definitely.
Sorry, JC. And then one thing I did notice is that when you do try and get into that box, they're not really there, but they're two centre mids, whoever they may be, whether it's Gross, Caicedo, or McAllister, or whoever. They tend to, in that situation, leave a gap on the edge of the penalty box, which is another area that I think could be exploited.
Yeah. I think one area that I picked out on when looking at Brighton as a team is that when it comes to set pieces, they zonal mark, they don't man mark. And that's something that I think that we could definitely exploit, because I know we're not the best team when it comes to set pieces, but we have been known this season to try some very outlandish stuff. Like, for example, against Man United, we tried that one free kick of Elise where he didn't put the ball in the box. He sort of curled it around the wall, and if Schlupp took a first-time shot, he would have been in there, but he took a touch first. So if there's some sort of clever way that Vieira's thought to work out a free kick, maybe take a new type of corner, that could be a very dangerous part, because as we know, zonal marking is all good if the ball goes to where people are zonally marking. However, if the ball goes into like the grey area where one player is saying it's not my zone and the other player is also saying it's not my zone, both of them, they're not going to go for it, are they? So it leaves chances of getting a free head on the ball.
No, definitely. And you know what? Funny enough, that was actually something that I'm gonna wait. I'll show you one of my spreadsheets.
Oh gosh, go on, share the screen. All right. If any of you want this spreadsheet, you need to call Dan, and he's going to send you his Google Drive link, and you better have hundreds of gigabytes on your on your thing. Can you zoom in a bit? It's a bit
Wait. Can I zoom in?
Just you can hold control and then scroll forwards.
Oh, it's not letting me. Letting me. All right. Well, anyways, sorry. The best I can do then is, so basically what I did was I got the goals that conceded and goals scored from corners by teams. But what I did as well was I took how many actual corners they've conceded and actually taken. Because the thing is, one team could concede next to no corners, but that might just be because they don't concede any corners. So Brighton in this actually rank. They're actually the only team, and you know what? I was really debating whether to even bring this up because I know we're a charity professional football club, and we'll probably give.
Do we need to play the advert?
we'll probably need to. We'll probably be the ones to give them their first goal from a corner this season. So you know. And like you said, like their zonal marking obviously doesn't really work because they've conceded 4 goals from 78 corners. That's the 4th worst in the league, which surprised me. And it's not. And I know probably some people are probably thinking, well, that's goals. That's goals. So maybe it was just lucky or unlucky or whatever. But I actually, funnily enough, stumbled across a tweet earlier today, which did it in terms of XG. So in terms of XG, Brighton actually rank 2nd worst in terms of creation. Only Leicester are worse. And they rank just above average in terms of... No, sorry, just below average in terms of what they concede. So I'm guessing that's bottom 1, 2, 3, 4... They rank 6th worst in terms of actual XG. So that's another weakness of theirs too.
Yeah, because they are very similar to us in the sense of that they don't have that many really big, strong players. Because looking at their potential starting 11, you got Dunk, Colwill, Caicedo, and Welbeck. And I think that's it. Do you know how tall Veltman is? I know he's a centre back, but I don't think he's too tall though, is he?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so.
But when you look at us, well, hopefully, I'm saying this as long as Lokonga starts because I'd love him to start. Mm-hmm. But we've got Mitchell, Gay, Richards, Decore, Lokonga, and Edouard. So we've got like another guy there, really, don't we?
No, I agree. I think we've definitely got it over them in that sense.
Let me show you what I've got cooking, I think. So this is what I would play, in my opinion. I think that Schlupp was so good in the 10 against Man United, and I think that for Eze to be able to dribble through all of this, going through the middle, would be a very tall order. So obviously, as Dan said, depending on which side wants to attack, so let's say that this side wants to attack, March will come up, McAllister will go here, Gross will go here, Caicedo will flip over, and it will sort of be like... It's a very weird and funky formation because this can happen on any side. Either Veltman will go up or Estupinha will go up as well. So it is a very, very, very attacking way of football. But obviously, let's say that we put our players up here as well. Because the right back's gone, you see this space that opens up instantly when it comes to Eze, for example. So, as we know, I think Gay is probably the best at hitting the ball from now because we don't have Anderson. But Richards is still more than capable to hit this pass. And you see all this free space. And with what you said, that the midfielders will leave a gap. If Elise can do one of his inside runs, and maybe Schlupp will stand at the edge of the box while Edouard goes in, we've instantly created our own overload when on the counter attack because all of their players are all up.
Yeah,
and if we break with speed, and that's something that Palace don't actually do very often, because the amount of times that I've seen us on the break, through on goal, and then Zaha cuts back, even though he's still got room, or Eze does a spin, or Elise cuts in on his left foot because he knows it, because he wants to score and he doesn't want to get the ball in.
Mm-hmm.
If we are very direct, that is how we beat this Brighton team, in my opinion.
I completely agree. I mean, if you look at the most XG that they've conceded this season have come from, so Arsenal, okay, right, they're just a very good team.
Mm-hmm.
One of them, so they conceded 1.5 XG against Aston Villa and they lost that game 2-1. That's how Aston Villa played. They played very, very direct, basically doing those things. Another game was actually Leicester away. Was it that one? No, it wasn't that one. Sorry, it was the other game. Sorry, yeah, it's the Leicester away game. I got that wrong. I don't know, but they also did very well, and they drew them 2-2, and they ended up. They played very direct.
Mm.
And I think that's how you can get them hit their wings, try and overload the center of the box, make them split apart, and then that's it. Or I think if you settle for a corner, I don't think that's bad either, to be honest.
Yeah, I think as we said earlier, I think set pieces and someone like Ayew, I think, would be very good in this match because of his ability to just win fouls, and I think that will be a very key influencer on this game.
Definitely. I can see some of the comments are saying about playing 5 at the back. Like I see Rich and Kevin saying about it, and also Neil saying about changing the formation. Would you change the formation in that sense?
I think this season we've gone through so many formation changes, and that we've actually found one now that seems to suit the players we have pretty well. So I think that it'll be more of a case of, if we change the formation to play against this team, it'll sort of be like going back to Roy Ball, in a sense of we're being scared of someone and we're setting up to be scared of someone else rather than imposing ourselves and making them deal with us. Obviously, you're looking at the league table and you're seeing them at 6th and you're seeing us at wherever we are right now. I haven't looked at the table.
12th, I think, still.
Well, yeah, so you see them at 6th and you see us at 12th. You're thinking, yeah, we need to go in here expecting to lose. But there's always history in this match. And the history is it's always 1-1 or 0-0. It's always a draw. So in that sense, I know that the fans of both sets of teams really want to just go for it, have a great football match out of it. So I don't see I see why you go 5 at the back, because obviously tactically it'll set us up to counter Brighton better. But I also think that if we can get going with the formation we're comfortable with, there's no reason why we can't trouble Brighton as well, because with this formation we have troubled Man City because we scored 2 goals against them before Erling Haaland got his software update. We've gotten some really good results. Like, for example, even against Newcastle, there were points in that game where we should have scored. We made good chances. We played well. Same thing against Man United before they got their guy sent off. So when we start building momentum, this formation really works well. So if we can do that against Brighton, then and we impose ourselves against them, we might have to force De Zerbi to make a change that he doesn't want to make to keep the game at 0-0 or to get a goal from if we score ahead.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I've never really been one for playing 5 at the back unless you've got really attacking wing backs. I think it's too defensive personally. Or unless either of your centre backs likes to go up or something like that.
Yeah, you need like a Sheffield United kind of thing, what they did a couple of years ago.
Yeah, exactly. And I think theoretically, that could work with Palace, but only when Anderson's back. that's another thing as well. I don't know how we play 5 at the back with
Yeah, I was
with
just going to ask.
Tompkins at the back as well. Not gonna
Yeah, I
lie.
was going to ask. Could you tell me who the 5 at the back would be?
Yeah, I wouldn't feel against Brighton. I wouldn't feel confident about Tompkins in that back line.
Yeah. And if any of you say Riedewald, you're getting sin-binned.
I mean, I could see the 5 at the back theoretically working when Anderson's back, because Anderson could like be in the middle.
He'll be the middle one, and it'll
Yeah.
be like Gay on the left and Richards on the right. That would be pretty good.
Yeah, and them two would be able to go forwards. Anderson would be able to spray passes. All 3 of them can pass well as well. So I think that could work, but
they're all pretty big and imposing centre backs as well.
Yeah,
because they've got the like for example, Anderson's got that passing range and the strength, but then Gay and Richards both have the pace to keep up with the fast strikers, the fast wingers to get out there.
Exactly.
So you've got a very good balance there.
Definitely. There is one thing. Well, I'm just going to share my screen again.
Richards just come back saying he'd have a back 5 of the wing of the fullbacks with Ward, Gay, and Richards.
I forgot about Ward, to be fair. My only concern. Wait, let me show you what I think the 5 at the back would solve very quickly, because it kind of plays into that. So let's say, who do you think we should sacrifice? I guess who we sacrifice? Schlupp.
Yeah.
Sorry, Schluppy.
Yeah, you sort of play like a 5-2-3, right?
So I guess
with
like
Decore and Lokonga in midfield.
I mean, who would play in the middle? I guess. Would you want?
I probably want Gay there. No.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, maybe put Gay there, and then like you have, I don't know. I guess Eze, something like that. I don't know.
No, I'll put Eze. I'd put so Decore and Lokonga there.
Yeah.
And then I'd sort of put Eze sort of a little bit wider than Gross.
What, here?
Yeah, and then Elise the other side of Casado.
Oh, I see.
And
Yeah,
Edward through the middle. That's what I would do.
Yeah, I see what you mean. But yeah, one thing that Brighton absolutely love to do is utilize this absolute weapon over here. So like if we're in here, right? Say we're all like this. So in a 4-4-2, let me just put Wardy there just for a sec, just to demonstrate what it's like for 4-4-2. My concern would be that Mitoma loves to make these runs when there's space behind.
Yeah.
Because he is rapid. And to be honest, like Brighton's players are more than capable of finding that pass.
Yeah. Well, he's done a degree in dribbling, right?
Well, he did. I think he was at uni until he was like 21 or something. So, you know, get good. But yeah, they love that. So I do think that it would perhaps solve that issue. But I guess my concern with that would be Mitoma against Ward and Klein. I don't know. I think Mitoma could still take both of them on pretty soundly.
I would probably play Richards where Ward is, because when Wardy has played centre back for us, he has played on the left side.
Oh, is he? Oh, fair. Right, well, we'll chuck him there then. So I think that could solve that problem. That's what I think the 5 at the back could solve. But yeah, but I can see it, because to be fair, they do like to fill those half spaces. And when I say half space, for people who don't know, I mean like these gaps in between here. So if you take Richards out for a sec, you'd have a gap like in between the fullback and the centre back, right? Where if you've got a centre back in there, well, that kind of gets rid of it. And they love playing in those kind of areas, and that's where Mitoma will make those kind of runs in those half spaces. And that is something that would concern me, playing a 4-4-2. But having said that, teams have played not 4-4-2, but playing 4 at the back, that would concern me. But then other teams have played 4 at the back and actually done all right.
Yeah, because I think one thing that you have to look at when you showed that there, even though you're 5 at the back, they're still creating an overload there. There's still more attackers than defenders.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I tell you something that I think could work, which I'm surprised we don't do it because other teams do it. I'm surprised that we don't in defense set up in a 4-4-2. Because other teams do that. Like Aston Villa did that against Brighton and they won, and and on by the stats they deserve to win. And to be fair, I watched the game and they deserve to win. And I think that would kind of work because Eze's not the best defensively. I think that could work. Like have Eze and Edouard as like the front two, and then have Banks of 4. So then you have
I've seen Southampton do that with Aribo, don't they? They put Aribo up front with Armstrong or Che Adams, and then all the other midfielders just sort of spread out across the midfield to screen the back line.
Yeah, no, exactly. Because I think the thing is, Eze's very, very good when he's on the ball. It's a shame that he's not better off the ball, because if he was better off the ball, then you could play what was effectively very similar to what we did last season. And last season we ended up with I think the best XG conceded outside of the top 6 or something. And that was because we had 5 in midfield. They were screening those half spaces. They made it so that the gaps in between the defense and them was very small. So it's really hard to play against. But because Eze's not that defensively minded, it kind of falls apart a little bit. Because last season we had the 2 wingers, but then we also had Koyate, Gallagher, and either Schlupp or MacArthur doing that, which I thought worked quite well. But I think with the players we got, I don't think it really works anymore.
I think that the energy from Gallagher, just the pressing, just is something that we are missing desperately.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think there was that thing that came out earlier, wasn't it, on Twitter that said we've run the least in the league or something like that.
By a long way as well. I think we've run the least by like 12 kilometers. That's a long way already in the season.
Jesus, they've been going down Morley's too much.
Well, have you seen that cinch challenge? They actually got sent to Morley's.
Did they actually? I didn't see that.
Yeah, there's like a little treasure hunt thing that they did for Easter. And they got sent to Morley's to go pick up a wings and chips or something like that.
Jesus.
Chairman here says I would go 4-1-4-1 and flood the midfield.
I think, yeah.
Would have Tagore sit, and you got 2 8s then, don't you? So you probably put Hughes and Lokonga in there. But that probably means that there's 0 creativity in that midfield. So it'll be very hard to get out.
That's the thing. You need the outlet, unless the wingers then come inside or something. That's the only thing I can think of. But then obviously you would isolate the full. You'd isolate the fullbacks then if the wingers come inside too much. Yeah, I think. Yeah, it's a difficult one. Because the thing is, we kind of tried that, didn't we? With Eze and Schlupp in there, and it didn't really work. So I don't know.
Pat Casemiro and Will Hughes' red card situation was moving like it was Will versus The Undertaker in a steel cage match. I still can't believe that certain Man United fans are saying he didn't have his hands around his neck.
Oh mate, honestly, I got blocked by 2 Man United fans because I said Casemiro had his hands around their neck.
I tell you one thing. Yeah, I was watching Match of the Day. And I know as much as they do, they never say anything about Palace. But they said it was a harsh red card. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, hang on a second, he had his hands around his neck. Even though they slowed it down, he probably still had his hands around his neck for a good 3-4 seconds.
Yeah, it's sort of like, do you know what I mean?
I get it. If you went to push him like this, and he sort of aiming for here, but he hit here. He sort of just pushed him.
Yeah.
Bang! Oh shit! Sorry, but no. So, and he moved him as well.
Yeah, It's like, oh, I don't. And then I had Man United fans telling me that the IU one was exactly the same as the Casemiro one.
But
I'm like,
IU was the push, and it
yeah,
accidentally hit him in the neck.
I think IU should have got booked, but that's
Yeah,
not.
I tell you one thing
And he got pushed.
Yeah, one thing I found really funny about the IU one was whenever I saw a clip of it, they cut the clip the second he touched the person.
Yeah, and I'm like, hang
It
on a
never
minute.
showed what happened afterwards.
Yeah, funny that, isn't it? Yeah, funny that. Either stills or it cuts as soon as. Yeah, nice
Yeah,
one.
they just Sky just suddenly ran out of hard drive space that they just couldn't show it anymore.
Yeah, ridiculous. Yeah. Oh well, that's in the past now.
Yeah, UK Pat's still laughing about it. I'd have Ward as the central centre back. And Kevin here's saying we played 5 at the back against Liverpool and got a point. I think that's because Liverpool are a different kind of team. Like they've got no midfield, and I think that's what changes. They don't bring up the overload through the midfield. They bring it only with the fullbacks, so you can cover it that way. So if Trent goes up, you can send Decore out there to the right side. If Robertson comes up, you can send Decore out to the left side. Then it means that there's no overload there anymore because the midfielders will stay in the midfield. They'll make a late run, but they won't be pressing the back line. So in that case, 5 at the back works really well.
I just, for me, I just think if you're playing 5 at the back to defend, I don't think that's the way forward. If you look at all the really good teams that play 5 at the back, it's because they got really attacking wing backs, which, to all intents and purposes, might as well not be counted as defenders.
Yeah, they're just wingers that drop deep, really.
Yeah, exactly. Because and a lot of the thing is with like things like nowadays, it's very and well, Brighton did this as we showed earlier, but what is really fashionable nowadays for teams to attack is to not have 4 at the back or 5 at the back. They only have 3, sometimes even 2. In Brighton's case, a lot of times they only have 2 at the back, building from the back. So
yeah,
if you're playing 5 and they're all standing all in a line at the back, like it doesn't work.
Yeah, I think Liverpool, when Liverpool won the league, I think that's what they did, isn't it? They just had pretty much they had Van Dijk and Matip, and everyone else was forwards, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And Trent Alexander-Arnold, to all intents and purposes, might as well have just been considered like a kind of central midfielder.
Yeah, exactly.
He's to come inside so much. Because that's the thing. Like I think 20, even like 15, even like 10 years ago, to be honest, players had a position and they just played in that position.
Yeah.
But nowadays, like the tactics are so complex sometimes that like it's sometimes I do think it is sometimes over coached, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Because like if you listen to someone like Ancelotti, he doesn't really tend to have like he's not as rigid as say like a Pep Guardiola or someone. But yeah, he still wins things. So sometimes I do think some sides are a bit overcoached, but I guess it only works if you've got really good players in that sense, like he does.
I think that the one team that I noticed with the that played 5 at the back and actually played it really well was Wolves the year they came up under Nuno, because they had Doherty and that other guy on the left. I can't remember what his name was. I think it was Turkish.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. He was quite good, that left wing back. Can't remember his name though.
Yeah, I think those 2 guys were the ones that made me realize, this 5 at the back stuff ain't no joke, because Doherty was scoring loads for Wolves that season. And I'm thinking, he's a right back. What is happening? And it just showed that he's got the defensive ability, but he's also pretty good in front of goal. And now for Spurs, we're starting to see that old Doherty coming back again.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think the thing is as well, if you have like your 3 centre backs and you have 2 midfielders, you've effectively created three triangles.
Yeah.
So say the middle centre back has got it, he could pass, or she could pass to one of 4 people if you're not including the goalkeeper. And then if they pass to the right, then they've still got two. Well, including the goalkeeper, they've got 3 options because they've got 3. They've got 3 triangles already right there. So I think that's why they tend to do it because, yeah. Although what I do see a lot more now, and Brighton do this, and Arsenal do this, is squares in the middle.
Yeah,
Squares in the midfield are something that I've seen.
Yeah, something that I've definitely seen with Brighton as well. It's mostly their goalkeeper and the centre backs that do it, but they have these moments in the game where either the goalkeeper or their centre back will have the ball, and then they'll stand on the ball, their studs on the ball, and they'll bait in a press.
Yeah,
and that's normally how they start off their attacks. So let's say Cole will stand on the ball, and then I don't know, Edouard goes to press. If Edouard goes to press, that means Casado and Gross will be free, so they'll pass it straight past him.
Yeah.
Onto the next line. And I'm not going to say that they'll do it every line on the way to the goal, because that's just not what happens. But it's the first one that moves, and then there's 2 people that aren't being marked anymore. So then that one pass then makes a triangle, doesn't it? So so it sort of be, I don't know, Colwill, Gross, Casado. That's a big triangle straight away. And players in the Premier League these days are good enough to pass through the triangle to not get tackled or intercepted. And that's sort of how it works. It'll sort of be like they'll probe inside, they'll pass around, they'll keep possession. And then the one time that the winger Matoma will slip away from Klein, let's say, that ball will instantly fly over to him because they're very quick with their decision making as well. So they'll start off their attack by baiting in a press. And then once that first press happens, everything will happen very quickly.
And that's something that De Zerbi did at Shakhtar as well. At Shakhtar, he did exactly that. And if you watch some of the goals Shakhtar scored, well, one, it was really nice football. And I feel a lot better saying that about Shakhtar than I do about Brighton. They would do exactly that. They would bait you in, so you commit players more towards their goal, and then it gives them more space. Interestingly, the 2 games I mentioned earlier about Leicester and Villa was that they were actually quite passive defensively. They didn't really close Brighton down, and I think that if you go to press Brighton too much, unless you do it in very certain circumstances, I think you're setting yourself up to fail, to be honest, because they are good at passing. They can pass through the press, and they've been coached in a way that they're expecting a press, and so they know what to do, they know where to be, and so on.
Definitely. You could have 5 with 3 fullbacks, have Mitchell going forward. You could do, but I don't see that working very well, though. Because we know Mitchell's so one-footed, though. What do you think?
I think in theory it could work. My only fear would be that if where are they starting and where are they going? Like, what I mean is, like, say we had the formation like we had earlier. So Mitchell left.
I think you're right, Louis. I'm not going to lie.
Parring guys. And Ward was. I kind of get it. Like, if Ward was already left centre back, then I guess he would just go slightly to the left and Mitchell will go forward. But I don't know.
Definitely. I think we'll round it out with some score predictions because we're going to talk about it in the preview tomorrow when we do it, I believe. So Luca here says 2-1 Brighton.
Well, to be fair.
Yeah, to be fair, it's not an outlandish prediction, we'll say.
No.
Dan, you go first. I'm gonna stick you in it.
Well, I'll go back to the boys. 2-1 Palace.
Fair enough. You know what I'm gonna do? It's gonna be 1-0, Dan.
Yeah,
It's gonna be 1-0. Yeah, and I think Louis and Pat are agreeing with me. It's always a bloody draw against Brighton, but because I've said it's gonna be a draw, and because you have said it's gonna be a win, you know what team's gonna turn up on Saturday? It's gonna be this one.
Have you got a player at your club that's so bad that he can't score for love or money? Well, luckily for you, there's a football club that will take care of that for you with absolutely no fees necessary to pay. And you might be thinking to yourself, wait, what kind of club was that? Well, luckily for you, that club is called Charity Professional Football Club. We excel at making bang average footballers look like world beaters. For more information, call us on 0800 1861 1905. That number again is 0800 1861 1905.
It never gets
I love
old.
that. No,
It never gets old.
that is brilliant. That is brilliant. Just a little stat. I've got in the last 6 games, 4 of them have ended 1-1.
Yeah. I saw another stat that apparently if Wardy starts in this Brighton game, that we haven't lost with Wardy starting. I don't know if that's a stat that you could find out.
Yeah, I can look at it.
But I think that's correct.
Let's see. I feel like Transfer Markt have usually got it. So against
Louis said
Brighton,
who hasn't scored for Brighton this season.
I can tell you that straight away. You have who actually plays. I mean, the only ones who actually have played more than like a little bit. Colwell, Lamptey.
Colwell will score because we nearly bought because we tried to buy him. That's
Webster,
exactly why he will score.
Estupinian, Veltman, Dunk, and then Sanchez, but he's not going to score, is he? So, I've said it, he probably will.
Luke is confident.
So
Nate's confirmed that Ward has never lost to Brighton.
he had. So I can't tell if he started. I'm guessing he hasn't started then. On the bench. Oh no, sorry. For Palace. Yeah, sorry, because I forgot. Yeah, he's played for Brighton. He's played for Portsmouth, didn't he? So the only times he's ever lost to Brighton was when he was playing for Portsmouth.
That's a pretty incredible stat. So Louis definitely says start Wardy then.
You know what? Honestly, the way Klein, I don't think Klein's been playing well recently. I wouldn't be against playing Wardy, to be honest. He's very good in the air. So
Nate's saying proper A-level brick football, 1-0 win.
Oh mate, honestly,
I'd love that. I would love that.
The amount of times I've relived that Benteke goal, Jesus, one of the most undeserved wins I think I've ever seen.
I keep saying it every time that goal gets brought up. I was doing the Benteke around the front room for about half an hour after the game finished.
Legend.
Let's finish off with these last 2 comments. Louis saying at least Malpaye can't score against us this time. Insert that clip where Ty says he hopes Brighton get relegated because of him. That's a legendary clip these days. Wilf to score the winner. Luke, I don't think it's going to happen, but I bet you the odds are pretty high on it, so I'd put £1 on it. But yeah, I think that rounds it out for TACT-EAGLE today. Anything you want to add before we go, Dan?
One man went to war.
Went to war with Brighton.
No, that's it. I haven't got anything else.
Yeah, I don't know the rest of it. I just let the fanatics do it and go.
Went to war with Brighton. One man and his baseball bat went to war with Brighton.
Yeah.
2 man went. Yeah, then it ages and ages and ages.
Yeah. We didn't. really talk about Ahamada. I think he'll probably be a later sub in the game. I don't think he'll start. But I think if we've got any chance of any of the new signings starting, it'll probably be Lokonga.
Yeah, I would have thought so. He's got, he's already got Premier League experience with Arsenal,
Yeah.
doesn't he?
Definitely. But yes, guys, that's it for TACT-EAGLE today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Put comments down below. Like, share, subscribe. This is JC from Eagle Eyed Football. That is Dan from Eagle Eyed Football and down to 10 megabytes per second. We are out. Up the palace.
He goes.